While it has been a long process and will be quite some time before we see EVs from every brand truly scaling, one thing has become clear: electric vehicles are here to stay. Tesla is at the forefront of this industry because regardless of the number of EVs announced or available to purchase, they sell more than anyone by a long shot. This is largely due to their production capacity as well as many other factors. This is expected to continue for some time, but the competition is finally truly arriving. There are a number of competitive EVs available to buy today, including the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Ford F-150 Lightning, Rivian R1T, Rivian R1S, VW ID4, and more. Most of these are still backed up in production with a pre-order list, but we keep seeing more cars announced from major brands. Today we're going to get into the latest EVs coming in the near future and 2025, so let's get into it. At this point, there are so many EVs announced that talking about every single one would make for an incredibly long video. For that reason, I'm going to focus on the ones most recently announced. To mention quickly though, soon we should be seeing the Nissan Ariya, Subaru Solterra, and scaling of the Toyota bZ4X built on the same platform, the Hyundai Ioniq 6, scaling of the cheaper trims of the Lucid Air, scaling of the Rivian R1T and R1S, scaling of the Model Y to be more readily available from Tesla, the introduction of the Cybertruck, Cadillac Lyriq, and more. After those cars, or around the same time, we should finally see a few cars coming from GM. The main three things we'll focus on throughout this video are expected price point, expected release date, and range. GM is focused on making a lot of EVs and making them more affordable. They plan to first do this with the Chevy Blazer EV. This is a fully electric version of the Blazer that they say will start around $44,995 MSRP. That's already starting about $20,000 less than a Model Y today, but that's for a standard range model. They have other offerings bringing the range up to 320 miles for $51,995, or the SS version coming in at $65,995. According to GM, we should see the two LT and RS trims of the Blazer EV become available in summer of 2023. That's already an exciting price point for the range promised, but GM has also announced the Equinox EV starting around $30,000 MSRP. The first available model will come out in the fall of 2023. It's the 2RS trim, so it's the top spec one, getting a range of 300 miles on a charge. After that, we will see the other trims coming in spring of 2024, getting 250 or 300 miles of range. Of course, there's a lot more to look into with all of these vehicles, but for many people, range and price will be the most important. As far as I can tell, all of the vehicles we're talking about today will support DC fast charging. Availability and reliability of chargers is still in question, and Tesla has a big advantage there, but a vehicle incapable of fast charging would absolutely be a deal breaker. Glad to see there's not many. Next from GM would be their first reasonable all-electric truck. The Hummer EV is already out, but it's a very specific vehicle at a very high price point. For the average truck driver, the Silverado may be a good option. Chevy is promising up to 400 miles of range on a full charge with the Silverado EV, and a starting price around $39,900 plus destination fees. They add that, quote, future variations will offer a range of MSRPs from around $50,000 to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, and more, depending on selected battery range and available features such as multi-flex midgate. So the starting price could be really great, but that 400-mile range may come with a much more expensive model. They say that first versions of this will be available in the fall of 2023, and recently it was spotted out in the wild testing with large 24-inch wheels. Another truck GM is planning on making soon is the Gmc Sierra Ev. All of these vehicles are built on GM's Ultium platform, so GM also estimates a 400-mile range in this vehicle. It has a number of great truck features, and this is first expected in spring of 2024 with the Sierra Denali EV. It packs a ton of features, but the Denali is expected to come in around $108,000. As we'll see with almost every car we talk about today, this will be the pattern. The most expensive model comes first, and the cheaper base models come later, sometimes years later. Those are all EVs coming from very established brands, but a newer company offering their first true EV is Fisker. The Fisker Ocean will offer a range of 350 miles. They have 4 trims announced, starting at $37,499 up to $68,999. Their cheapest model promises a 250-mile range and is a vehicle many are keeping an eye on. The latest we've heard about this vehicle is that first deliveries will happen in early 2023, most likely with the priciest models. They are starting from scratch with production, so it may be quite some time before that $37,000 model ships, if it does. Also announced by Fisker, though, is the Pear. Not much is known about this car, but Fisker says that it is, quote, the future of clean and affordable individual mobility for cities. It has only been seen once out in the wild and appears to be a small hatchback. Fisker says they expect first deliveries of the Pear in 2024 and that the starting price will be $29,900. A compelling electric vehicle shipping at this price point would be a big deal, and brings us to the next car that could come soon, the Tesla Model 2. That actually isn't the name of this car, but it's the working title that's easier to say than Tesla's $25,000 EV. Back in 2020, Tesla held their Battery Day event and talked about how the trajectory of more affordable 4680 cells would ultimately lead to their $25,000 EV. We've heard a wide range of mixed reports for this car. Tesla said that they weren't working on the $25,000 EV as they were focused on other projects. Then they said that they want to release the $25,000 EV at scale in 2023 without a steering wheel or pedals. This would make it a dedicated robotaxi, which is something Elon talked about Tesla developing at the Cyber Rodeo. On Tesla's earnings summaries, they also refer to the, quote, robotaxi and others as in development. This has made many, including myself, assume that this $25,000 EV isn't coming. Instead, it will be a dedicated robotaxi, but that's dependent on Tesla refining FSD to the point of a dedicated robotaxi being possible. Many doubt this in any timely manner, so rumors have persisted about Tesla planning a cheaper Tesla. 2023 doesn't seem likely at all, especially given Tesla's focus on the Cybertruck finally coming out in 2023, but 2024 or even 2025 could be a possibility. Rumors have swirled about Tesla having already built their Model 2 prototype in China, and new rumors about Tesla's factory in Mexico say that they may build it there. Either way, we likely won't hear many details about this car until Tesla holds an official announcement event, and then still it may be delayed from there and end up more expensive than $25,000. As we continue to see from Tesla though, when they release a car, it does well and scales rather quickly. They don't release a car until they are ready to truly bring it to production. The Model Y only came out in 2020 and is now the best-selling car of any type in Europe, so even though this $25,000 Tesla seems late, it could be a big deal when it finally comes. It would be competing with the Fisker Pear, Chevy Equinox EV, and any other affordable EVs that come out by then. Next up, just unveiled at CES is the VW ID.7. This is the rebranding of the ID Aero presented in China. A few days ago, VW teased the ID.7 with features including a 15-inch infotainment screen, smart air vents, and a 300-mile range. In their latest press release, they also claim a range up to 700 kilometers or 435 miles, but that's likely not EPA. The model displayed at CES also features, quote, smart camouflage to obscure the design details until the official reveal later this year, so this won't be a feature available to buy. This car is expected to come around 2024, so hopefully it brings a great range and a great price point, so it's a competitive option. Also at CES is the first prototype unveiled by Afeela, the rebranded joint venture of Sony Honda Mobility. Pre-orders for this car will open in the first half of 2025, and deliveries to North American customers will begin the next spring. Car and Driver estimates that it will start around $45,000, and this car will include an infotainment system made in collaboration with Epic Games. This car also has 45 cameras and sensors to provide, quote, cutting-edge architecture for driver assistance and telematics systems. The range has yet to be released. Another car we saw this week is the Lightyear 2 with a 500-mile range. It achieves that incredible range with a solar roof and could start under $40,000. According to CEO Lex Hoofsloot, they will achieve this price point by focusing on, quote, picking the technologies that are fundamentally scalable. I'm excited to see an EV become that accessible to the public, but we'll have to wait and see if that projected price increases, as they have for many startups. The waitlist for the Lightyear 2 is open, and it's expected to start production by the end of 2025. Next up, though, is the Kia EV9. Kia has already shipped the EV6, but the EV9 is a large, full-size, 3-row SUV that they've teased a few times. Recently, they gave an updated teaser for the shape of this car, but everything else remains a mystery. Most expect them to be taking on the Rivian R1S with this car. Car and Driver estimates a starting price of $50,000 with a top 300-mile range. It is estimated to be a 2024 model year, but timing is still very unclear. When it does come, though, what we could see around the same time is the Hyundai Ioniq 7. The Kia EV6 and Ioniq 5 are built on the same platform, so the Ioniq 7 would be similar to the EV9. It would be a large 3-row SUV with 300 miles of range, likely starting at $50,000, and would probably come in 2024 at the earliest. The concept photos for both of these vehicles are cool and futuristic, but will likely be completely normal once they come to production, especially inside. The exciting thing about both of these cars is that Kia and Hyundai are truly shipping electric cars at this point. They are still scaling and have lots of work to do, but these concepts hold a little more validity since we know that they can actually make good electric cars. On the other side of things is the Apple car. The Apple car has been rumored for a long time, and it's clear that Apple has been actively working on on a vehicle for the past few years. Their focuses are this vehicle being electric and autonomous in some form. The latest updates for the Apple car came last month, with reports saying it would debut in 2026, use a custom Apple silicon chip, not include self-driving, and be priced under $100,000. We'd expect them to also launch it with a competitive 300-mile range in order for it to sell well. Quote, the company is aiming to ready the design by next year and have the features set by the end of 2024. It then plans to put the car through extensive testing in 2025. So come 2025 or 2026, when we may be seeing the Tesla Model 2 or Kia EV9 hit the road, Apple may finally introduce their own electric vehicle to the world. Many doubt this though, since they have been at work on this project for a very long time with no development. But back to a vehicle from an established automaker. The 2023 Cadillac Lyriq should be scaling throughout 2023, and it looks to be a pretty great car. It starts at $62,990 and offers a lot of premium features, but they are now taking orders for the 2024 Lyriq. There are two models expected to deliver in spring of 2023, and this car gets up to a 312-mile range. It's definitely competing with the Model Y, coming in slightly cheaper than Tesla charges today, and should offer a lot more in the interior itself. I'm excited to see this come out, but Cadillac also plans to ship the Celestiq. This car is all about luxury with tons of luxurious features inside. The price? $300,000 and an EPA estimated range of 300 miles. It's a very, very specific vehicle and is expected to come in 2024 as a 2025 model year. Within 2025, Buick is planning to ship their first all-electric vehicle. This is the Buick Electra E5. It's an SUV that's expected to start around $50,000 and get a range of 300 miles. Not much else is known, but Buick has shared first photos and plans to first introduce this vehicle in China. It will be for the Chinese market and then make its way to North America either by being produced here or being imported from Asia. Buick is one of many companies that is bringing their first true EVs to market around 2025 and then planning to be all electric by 2030. It should be an interesting thing to see develop, since 5 years is a very short amount of time to completely transition a brand to a different type of vehicle technology. Tons of brands are promising this though, and it raises a lot of questions for charging infrastructure and battery supply, but that's for another video. GM says they'll go all electric by 2035, Bentley says they'll do it by 2030, Honda says they'll do it by 2040, Mercedes says they'll do it by 2030, VW says that they'll do it around 2035, and now Jeep has announced that they are launching 4 all-electric SUVs by 2025. These will be the Jeep Wagoneer SEV, Jeep Recon EV, Jeep Avenger, and Jeep Wrangler 4xe. The Jeep Recon will come first to North America starting in 2024. Jeep says, quote, the Recon is expected to have everything its 4x4 models offer, only with zero emissions. The Wagoneer S will be their premium electric SUV, getting a 0 to 60 as low as 3.5 seconds and a claimed 400-mile range. The Avenger will first come to Europe and targets a 400-kilometer range. Many plans on the way from many brands, so the next 2 years leading to 2025 should bring a lot of great EV options to market. Next up is one of the first EV muscle cars to be teased, the 2025 Dodge E-Muscle. This is very much coming out of the Dodge Challenger and Charger, and could end up using one of those names when it truly comes to fruition. Dodge has shared a teaser of this vehicle, and the video is called Performance Made Us Do It, speaking to the advantages of an electric powertrain. The teaser also seems to confirm that it has all-wheel drive. Rumors say it could have a 0 to 60 around 2 seconds, matching the Plaid Model S, and Dodge specifically plans for this car to be loud, with a muscle car noisemaker to imitate an engine. It's definitely not for everyone, but it's the first muscle car EV we've seen. Speaking of fast cars, sometime in 2025, we could finally see Tesla ship the Roadster. Tesla announced this car in 2017 with a 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, top speed over 250 miles per hour, and 620-mile range. But rumors say it could be even faster once it launches. We'll keep an eye out for that, but that's a $250,000 car. Somewhat in the same world, though, is the first EV from DeLorean, the Alpha 5. The design of this car has been released by DeLorean, featuring classic gull-wing doors, but overall it doesn't look too much like the original DeLorean. You can reserve one, and it's estimated to get 300 miles of range, come in over $120,000, and come sometime in 2024 or 2025. Over at Lucid, they have officially begun showing off their SUV called the Gravity. This would be their second vehicle, and it's expected to start around $90,000 for the base model. The Lucid Air boasts a 516-mile range, so this very well could be one of the first true SUVs getting a range over 400 miles when it releases. They plan for this car to arrive in 2024, with more details coming in 2023. At Polestar, Polestar, they have two new upcoming vehicles. The Polestar 3 is their first all-electric SUV. It gets a range of 300 miles, as many EVs we're talking about do, and will start at $83,900. This is Volvo's premium electric brand, so it's priced as a luxury vehicle with many luxurious features inside, and will be competing with cars in this price point and potentially the Lucid Gravity. First deliveries are scheduled for the fourth quarter of 2023, so we should be seeing this car around throughout 2024. On the sports car side of things is the Polestar 6. This will get a range over 300 miles, 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and be available in 2026 as the Polestar 6 LA Concept Edition. It will come in at $200,000. From Volvo themselves, they have announced their EX90 electric SUV. It gets a range up to 300 miles, has 7 seats, is expected to start under $80,000, and will likely be coming sometime in 2024. They also have a concept electric car called the Concept Recharge. It's somewhat of a crossover wagon shape, and the back looks pretty interesting. You can definitely see the design language shared between this and the Polestar 3. This concept will likely inform many other cars on top of the EX90, as Volvo also plans to be all-electric by 2030. VinFast is a Vietnamese company planning to ship 2 different EVs in the US soon. On their homepage, they even have a special lease offer specifically for California residents. Their cars are SUVs in 2 shapes. They have the VF8, which is a mid-size 5-passenger SUV starting at $59,000, and it should get a range around 250 to 300 miles. But EPA testing has reportedly shown that it's performing far under this at 179 miles. If that's true, I don't see this vehicle performing well at all, especially at that price point. If the range can improve, it's worth keeping an eye on though. The VF9 is their full-size 7-seater SUV, starting at $83,000. Supposedly the premium trim will offer 369 miles of range, but we'll have to see how this one develops. Each of these cars are expected in 2024, manufactured in the US. If their ranges come to fruition as promised, they'll be competitive with vehicles in their segment. For Honda, they have announced the Prologue EV, which is their first true electric vehicle. It should come out as a 2024 model along with whatever the Acura Precision EV concept ends up being. As I mentioned earlier, Toyota is working on the BZ4X, but they also have plans for the BZ3X. This would be a much smaller vehicle starting around $40,000 and coming sometime in 2024 or 2025. From Toyota, as well as the Lexus RZ starting around $55,000, potentially coming in 2023, and apparently offering a range of 225 miles. Hopefully that can improve before its release. Toyota plans to have 30 new EVs by 2030. Lastly, Jaguar is planning to be all electric by 2030. They plan to release 3 new electric sports EVs in 2025, and not much else is known. If I were to guess though, they'd probably have a 300-mile range. As I mentioned earlier, the big question with all of these new and exciting EVs is availability, battery supply, and charging infrastructure. These are big things that Tesla has locked down and continues to improve upon, so all of these companies have a lot of work ahead. I'm very excited to see it though, and I can't wait to check out a lot of these cars. Those are all the most recently announced EVs coming by 2025, but is there one that you like that I missed? Leave a comment below to let me know. In the meantime, you can check out my full review of the Rivian R1T after 2,000 miles linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.